My candle just detonated out of nowhere. How the f does that happen?
That's so funny.
Dude, I thought someone broke into my apartment. That thing was like a bomb.
Boys are back. The boys are back in town. We have the full crew here, and we are going to recap our betting record through 5 weeks. We have Matt in first place, Eric in second, Jared in third, David in fourth, and myself in last. Got to redeem myself this week. We have a great matchup, great feature match of the week. The finals of Miami. We have Casper Ruud versus Carlos Alcaraz. I'm super excited to get into betting for this one. We're going to start it off by talking about our strangest tennis moments. Let's start off with Matt.
All right, so we're going to bring it back to my sophomore year. We were in the middle of a trip out west. I think we had just played Portland State, and then we had made we were somewhere out west, and then we had traveled out to Cheney, Washington to play the Eastern Washington Eagles. And we're in the middle of the warm-up, crowd's starting to roll in. We're probably about 20 minutes from intros and all that stuff, and all of a sudden the Eastern Washington Eagle walks in, and we're all just like, oh, that's kind of weird that the state, the university mascot comes to the tennis match, because normally tennis doesn't get that kind of love. And all of a sudden the Eagle grabs a racket, and then the Eagle just starts ripping some absolute just nuke forehands and is like as good as every single one of the Eastern Washington players. And we're all just like looking at this mascot like, well, if their mascot's as good as we are, this is not going to go well for us. So after watching this mascot for like 5 minutes, I was totally just rattled out of my mind, and it proceeded to lose like 6-2 in like literally 11 minutes in doubles. And then our team got throttled like 6-1. I think a lot of it had to do with that mascot just being just better than our entire team. I kid you not, that dude was like a 12 UTR. I mean, that dude was so good.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
David, what do you got? We got David in the car.
Yeah, how we doing?
David's got it, dude.
I'm calling from God-fearing town of Albany, Minnesota, home of Tina Koltoff-Sowie. Actually, Jared's mother. So this episode's brought to you by Bang. But yeah, I mean, tennis is naturally a sport that draws some weird people, great people, but weird guys. But mine is more of just a general. When you look at through the big picture lens. So Carter and myself were lucky enough to play for the Fargo South Bruins boys tennis team, and we had a tradition every year that we would camp out at the tennis courts the night before the first practice. And let me tell you, not much sleep was had that first practice. Given our elite tennis, we didn't need sleep because we were elite North Dakota tennis prodigies. But man, I tell you what, our senior year, I think it was, we're monkeying around, and a man who was a little rough around the edges comes to the shack, and given the innocent young boys who we were, we didn't know what was going on, and this guy just he goes behind the shack, and he has a lighter with him, and he lights up let's just call it a candy cigarette. And I just remember being extremely frightened. And we went on a tour to all the other tennis courts in the Fargo-Moorhead metro area. Let's just say we asserted our dominance on those courts, and we ended up winning the state tennis tournament that year.
That's why we did, right?
Yeah, it is. We'll leave it at that.
All right. What do you got, Jared and Cart? We got Carter there with a bloody nose, so that's what's in his nose right there. But what do you guys got for a strange tennis story?
Oh God, definitely what stands out to me is it wasn't so much on the tennis court, but after we left, we played a weekend up in the Duluth area, and as we got in the van on the way home, we stopped at a gas station and load up on some snacks and some different stuff. And Jake Peters comes out with no less than 6 different beverages and proceeds to just guzzle those beverages within the first 10 minutes of our van ride. So we get maybe a half hour across. Another cobber. What was that little town called that was obsessed with Bigfoot?
Reamer.
Oh yeah.
The hairy man. Reamer.
Darn
Yeah,
right.
we stopped in Reamer, and Jake Peters got out of the van to run to the bathroom. I mean, he sprints, and we all kind of chuckle and we take our time. So I remember Jake Peters sprints into the bathroom, and I think I had like a minute-long conversation with Eric or with somebody in the van, and then I went into the bathroom as well. So Jake Peters had like a minute-long head start. I walk into the bathroom. He is still at the urinal peeing. And so I use the bathroom. I take a pee. I wrap up. I get done. I wash my hands. I walk out. Jake Peters still peeing. I go and I sit in the van for another minute, and then he comes out. And so we're all laughing at this point, and I go, "Hey, Jake, geez, you must have really had to go, huh?" And he goes, "Well, to be honest, when I had to go so bad that when I started to use the bathroom, my eyes started watering because of how good it felt." The whole fan was laughing at that. So I'll never forget that tennis related story ever.
I feel like every guy can relate to that in some
Yes,
aspect.
yeah.
Tak skal du ha y muchas gracias, as the Spaniards and Norwegians would say. Thank you for listening this far. We will now be getting into the gambling portion of our show. The boys will bet on one featured match per week. They must put $10, $20, or $30 on the bet of their choice. All types of bets welcome. And then the winner at the end of the year wins a '69 Chevy. The levy must be dry in order to win. Thank you to David for shouting out our sponsor, Bang! Go get your Bang at the nearest Walmart or gas station or convenience store. Now, let's get on with the bets.
So our feature match of the week is Alcaraz versus Ruud. We have the money line, game spread, and total games on the right there. Alcaraz is 1-0 versus Ruud lifetime. They played in 2021 on clay, and Ruud is a clay court specialist, so that was a good win for Alcaraz. Matt, who do you have in this match? What's your bet?
It's tough to pick a winner in this. I think it's gonna be a battle. I think it's a 3-set battle. So I'm gonna take the games. I'm gonna go over again on the games. 21.5 is pretty good, especially if it goes 3 sets. So kind of counting on that 3-setter, and if it goes 3, more than likely, it's almost impossible not to hit the 21.5. So I'm gonna do that. And then I will put down. Let's do 30. I'm gonna do $30 on the over on games.
Alrighty, 30, and it's at -130, so perfect. We got a good bet there. Jared and Cart, what are you guys thinking for your bets?
Yeah, I believe that Alcaraz will win this match, but I was just looking at some of the numbers, and I think that Casper money line is just too appealing not to take, because I think he has a chance. I mean, I do think that Ruud has a real chance to take this match. I know Alcaraz has been playing unbelievable tennis lately, but I do think Ruud has the tools in the bag to get it done. So even though I think Alcaraz will win, I'm going to take Casper Ruud money line. I'm going to put $10 on that, just because that it's an appealing bet. I think that Ruud could potentially sneak this one out.
For sure. So it's plus 220, so 10, and you'd win 22. So yeah, that's good. Good value back on that. Carter, what do you got?
I think it's going to be a quick match in Alcaraz's favor, but I'm not going to underestimate Ruud. I'm a big fan. So I'm going to go just money line on Alcaraz, but I'm going to throw 30 on it. I feel strongly that he'll win, and I'm thinking like 6-3, 6-4, just a break each set.
That's exactly what I think as well.
He's just, man, he's so good, and I think he's been knocking on the door. I know he got one dub at an ATP 500 earlier this year, right?
Yep.
But
down in Rio,
he's consistently beating top players now. Ruud's up there. He's considered a top player, but he's no Stefanos for sure. And I think I don't think the nerves are going to get to Alcaraz. He's very composed. And I think this is really bad news for all those guys that were dubbed next gen for the last 5-6 years, for Zverev, Tsitsipas, like even guys like Ruud, all the guys that were supposed to, take over for the big three. I think
Yep.
Alcaraz is gonna be the spoiler to that. And I think he's got a lot of great years to come, and Miami's a great tournament to come out at.
For sure. Yeah, and he'll add that to his, his list of tournaments won if he can win this one. I mean, he's won a 250, won a 500, hasn't won 1,000 or a Grand Slam yet, so this would be his first 1,000-point tournament. And I don't think there's really any pressure for either of these guys in this match. Obviously, the level and being in a championship, there's going to be that sort of pressure, but like they're not playing someone super well known where there's just going to be a ton of people watching, like a Rafa, Novak, or Fed. I mean, they're relatively unknown outside the tennis world, so I think Alcaraz is going to end up winning this one 3-4, just kind of like what Carter said. I'm going to take the under on games at 21.5, and I'm going to put $20 on that. So that's my particular bet. I think Ruud is a defensive player and Alcaraz is not, so I think he's going to dictate the match and really just kind of step on Ruud's throat.
Something that's going to help Alcaraz too that I noticed in the Zverev match is like Zverev started doing his thing where he gets nervous and he hits that weak ass second serve, and Ruud was still standing way back. And if Alcaraz had a great serve right now, I think he'd already be like elite. He'd be shoo-in for the semis at every single tournament, no matter what. But his serve has been a struggle, and he's 18, he's still developing, he's still getting better, and his serve has gotten better. But if Ruud's going to stand back on it, like Zverev, and Alcaraz is just going to just kick it up like he always does. But if Ruud doesn't attack that, I mean, so much opportunity for Alcaraz because his return game is so solid and he has so much variety.
There you have it. We have our picks are in and everything, so I'm super excited for this match. It's tomorrow, so Sunday at noon. It's going to be a great one. Tune in.